Netflix's Witcher was by far one of the most anticipated TV shows of the late 2019. Based on a series of books by a Polish writer Andrzej Sapkowski, the show follows the adventures of legendary monster slayer Geralt of Rivia, and the moral challenges he faces along the way while trying to survive in this cruel world. The series only managed to reach 60% on Rotten Tomatoes, but was loved by the general audience and left many people wanting more. But this series almost owes its existence to CD Projekt Red and their game adaptations of Mr. Sapkowski's works. If not for the major success of their incredible games, it's highly unlikely that such a TV series would have ever been made on this scale. Mr. Sapkowski himself speaks unfavorably of the games, but their role in popularizing the franchise is hard to overrate. And although the show itself is based on the books, the influence of the games is obvious. So today we're going to be comparing the TV show and the games to see which adaptation's characters remain the most accurate to the books. The TV adaptation of Geralt is practically flawless. Henry Cavill plays the exact same character I spent so much time reading about in the book series. His mannerisms and personal philosophy are on point. Although the game downplays it a bit, Geralt is essentially a very troubled man, and almost every dilemma he has struggled with is explored in one of the stories from the first book in the series, The Last Wish, which was the main source material for the first season. As for The Witcher 3, I feel like Geralt's character is a tiny bit simpler than he should have been. But it's good, because for a great RPG game you have to be able to put yourself on your character's place, which means sacrificing some character details to create space for your decisions is necessary. As for his appearance, this is where the TV series is truly more faithful to the books. The famous argument that Geralt hated having a beard is true, and although I agree he looks better with a slight bristle, you can't argue that in this case the TV series is more faithful to the works of Sapkowski. Another thing is, Geralt never carried two swords behind his back. I do think it looks great from a visual point of view and makes for a very distinct character trait in the game. Truth is, it's not practical at all. In the books, Geralt mostly kept his silver sword in his saddlebags and took it out when he knew he would need it. There are times in the books where Geralt gets attacked by a monster and he doesn't have the silver sword with him, so he has to find a clever way to defeat it or save himself. All things said, I think that both Geralts are undoubtedly great, but if you compare which Geralt is more book accurate, then Netflix's Geralt has a slight edge over the game Geralt. I do think that Cavill's acting is a bit too much at times, but overall, he does a damn good job. This is where it gets interesting. Just to get us out of the way, the appearance of this character in both the TV show and the game are perfect. Now let's get to their character traits. The game Yennefer is exactly like the book version. Honestly, I can't even find one trait she doesn't have in the books. She is powerful, smart, cold on the outside, but deeply emotional inside. She truly cares for Geralt and Ciri and would do anything to protect him. I truly believe this is a perfect adaptation of the character from the books. The Netflix Yennefer is somewhat different from the Yennefer we see in the first book. This Yennefer feels much younger than the one we see in The Last Wish. She feels to me like still a girl who is struggling with her emotions. One thing that really contributes to this factor is the fact that Yennefer has a mentor figure in Tissaia de Vries. This makes her seem much younger than she is supposed to be and somewhat less confident. Although I really liked Anya Chalotra's character in the TV show, I have to admit that if we're comparing how accurate these two adaptations are, I have to go with the game Yennefer because this character is just perfectly faithful to the book. I think that both TV show and the game don't make this character justice. I would say that I liked Ciri in The Wild Hunt, but there's just so much more to her in the books that in comparison, this character seems bland. The TV series is fine, but most of her arc is something that wasn't taken directly from the books, so it's pretty hard to compare. Both their appearances are on point, but Ciri's context in the series did freak me out at times. Overall, I look forward to seeing Freya, Al and Ciri interacting with Geralt and Yennefer, and if we do get to see her whole story that wasn't really explored in the games, this character might easily become the best character in the series. Jaskier or Dandelion is one of my favorite parts of the series. He's funny, he's a great companion for Geralt, and most of all, he's fun. I don't know about you guys, but the game Dandelion was really annoying to me. He didn't play much of a role in the story, and most of his quests were pretty damn boring. And although they're both faithful to the books, I really prefer the TV version just because I was always excited when I saw him on screen, and he was a really good comic relief character. Joey Batty does a great job in making every line delivery memorable. As for their appearance, I would agree that the game Dandelion does look more like the character he's described as in books, with his flashy, colorful clothes, but I can't help but say that Jaskier from the Netflix show is more faithful to the books just because he's way more fun. Now this is all this video is about. Which Roach is more faithful to the books? I firmly believe that we should give this title to the game Roach. Why so? Can the Netflix Roach do this? Oh, I don't think so. Both the game and the TV show are very good adaptations of the works of Andrzej Sapkowski. I feel like most of the changes that were made in the games are for the better. For example, Triss having red hair instead of brown hair makes her more visually striking and creates a bigger contrast between her and Yennefer, which is a smart move considering they're the two love interests a player can choose. Geralt having a beard works in favor of the game's role-playing features, and him carrying two swords at his back makes for such an iconic and badass visual. That being said, I do like the fact that the show went with a more realistic, book-accurate design, which makes a better impression considering it's live action. To conclude, I think that both these adaptations are fairly faithful to the books, and most of their changes are totally justifiable and don't ruin the experience for a fan of the novels. Thank you for watching this video, hope you enjoyed it, subscribe and ring the bell to get notified whenever a new video comes out. My name is Flying Head Mark, so long fellas.